We're talking stimulus and taxes. Mark Hensley, the Associate State Director for AARP, North Carolina Triad Region, and Kevin Robinson from Robinson Tax Accounting Services. They are back with us answering those questions. You can text us your questions, 336-379-5775. Remember, this is a text only, not a call-in. All right, Mark, let's get right to it. Second round of stimulus. What do we know?
Hey, I'm hopeful. The head of the Treasury today gave us some hope and said he used the word favorable, but keep in mind Congress is on recess, and we just found out today Congress is going to take another recess later in July. We were hoping for mid to late July there would be a decision. Keep in mind the House has already passed the HEROES Act. It was very much the same as what we have now in stimulus. But Mitch McConnell, who is the head of the Senate, has said they're going to craft their own plan. One thing that I read was this should only go to people who make $40,000 or less. But the proposal on the table is that every American would get another $1,200, including children, including high schoolers and college kids. So now this debate has to be worked out and then signed off on by all parties in Congress.
That's right. Okay. But we know for sure they're not coming back to work in Washington until July 20th. So nothing can happen till at least July 20th. So we want you to know that. All right. Let's take a look at some of the questions that we're getting in here. All right, Mark, this person says, my husband and I received our stimulus payment, but we didn't receive our stimulus for our eligible children. Not sure why that is.
Okay, so let's define what an eligible child is. Age is the first criteria. So in 2018, they had to be 17 years of age or younger. A lot of high schoolers and early college kids, they're not getting a stimulus of $1,200. They're also not considered a dependent. Even though their parents are carrying them as dependent, they had to be 17 or younger. That is the criteria. So there's a swath of people that did not get that $500 per dependent because of their age limitation.
That's right. And if you were on SSI, you actually had to put in that you had a child benefit, and there was a deadline for that.
That is right. There was a deadline back in May for SSI recipients to enter in their dependent information, and that window has now closed.
Yeah, and so that would have to be a tax credit as well for the next year. All right, Kevin, this person says, if you owe taxes and you are on an installment plan to pay off taxes, will the IRS just take the remainder of my balance out of my stimulus payment?
It's a good question, Tanya. No, it won't. The only thing that could really be taken out of the stimulus payment ahead of time is unpaid child support. So they're not going to, if someone owes back taxes and say, well, just take it out of my stimulus check, that's not going to happen. They can use the stimulus check or whatever other funds to pay their taxes, but it's not going to come out ahead of time unless it was just unpaid child support.
All right, Mark, this person is texting, is there any reason an individual will receive 2 checks for $1,200?
Hey, it's not a perfect system. If you got an extra payment for whatever reason, do the right thing and send it back. That goes to the Memphis, Tennessee office, which is the regional office for this part of North Carolina. And just put a little note, oops, got an extra payment. I just don't want this person to end up getting a tap on their door from the IRS wanting their overpayment back later on.
Yes.
Well, and a lot of people have said, I did get overpaid, can I spend it? And I'm like, well, you can spend it, but you should just also know that the IRS may ask for it back some other time. Yes. All right. So, Kevin, this person is asking, how do I file for a tax extension if I can't get my taxes done by the 15th? Also, do I need to file for an extension by a certain date?
Well, since the extended date of April 15th is July 15th, which is next week, and if they cannot get their taxes done, then they can file for the federal extension under Form 4868, which can be filed electronically with most tax software will do it. But the thing to keep in mind, it is a filing extension. So if they're going to owe tax, then they need to get it paid by July 15th or send the payment with an extension. So again, keep in mind 4868, which I think we talked about last week, and a link to that on WFMY. But 4868 for the federal, and so if they need more time to file, then they can do that electronically or send a payment with it if they know they're going to owe.
Yeah, you have to estimate how much taxes you think you might owe. If you normally get a refund, maybe you don't have to do that. But if you normally have to pay because you maybe are self-employed and you have to take out taxes along the way, that's when you would have to send some money there. And you have to do it by the 15th, and you can still do it online. And so we do have that form in the Who Wants to Know section. All right, this person is asking, can you receive a stimulus payment into a cash app? Mark or Kevin, do you have either one of you have any experience with that?
Mark, I'll let you take that one.
So the debit card option does allow you to make a transfer into your bank account or to a cash app. We did find that out a couple of weeks ago. So that is the option. But if it is a paper check, you have to take it to the bank the old-fashioned way.
Right, and deposit it and whatever else, and then you can slide it into something else. I do believe that at one time you were able to put your cash app in as your bank account number, but you would have had to have done that beforehand. That's no longer an option to do that.